going? Dexter here with a lesson for you on basically just moving your left hand around a little bit, just movable ghost notes basically. One thing I do just want to feature in this video, the guys from Vangoa kindly sent me this really nice, it's 14 inch by 5.5 inch snare drum. I believe it's maple, and I've just done a tuning video on it, on kind of how I tuned it up, using little bits of gaffer tape and stuff like that, a couple of methods and little tricks that I use to tune up. But I just want to say, this is actually on Amazon for £99.99, or if you're in America, it's $99.99. So wherever you are, it seems to be $99.99. But it's and you get the stand, you get the drum, and you get a whole bunch of. You actually get a bag for the drum with a little pocket on it. You get a little strap, some drumsticks, a kind of muting head, so you can do some quiet practice, which is pretty good. I've got to say, all for that much. And oh no, there's a bag for the stand as well. So yeah, so there's bags for everything. There's all sorts of stuff. So it's really, really cool. You also get a bunch of drum stickers with it, which I was quite surprised about, which I quite like. So it's good. So there's a lot of stuff that you get, and for that price, you really can't moan. I've got to say, it is great quality for what you get. So it's good. I think the stand. I think the only kind of real things I can say about it is just the stand. It's not as robust as what I'm used to. The little handles on it are a little bit smaller, can hurt your fingers if you're really trying to squeeze them, but I think I'm more kind of finding that because I'm trying to find things not to like about it. But it's, I've got to say, it's really quite good quality for what you get. It's good. You can buy the snare drum and the stand separately as well, so I'll put all the links in the description if you're interested in the snare drum. But thanks to the guys from Vangoa for sending this over to me, and it's I've really enjoyed trying it out and reviewing it, so it's good. Right then, let's have a look. So, movable ghost notes. One of the first drum kit purchases I did after buying my, well, it was actually my second drum kit. The first drum kit I destroyed. The second drum kit I got. My first big drum purchase after that was a second snare drum. So some people buy like extra cymbals and bits and bobs. My main one was a second snare. So I bought a snare drum very similar to this. It was actually a Percussion Plus one. It was a steel snare drum, and it was always a bit ringy. But I just wanted to be able to use two snares. So I was into Benny Greb, Thomas Lang, Jojo Mayer. All of those guys used more than one snare drum. So I thought, well, I want to try out some of the patterns and things that those guys are doing. So the main thing they did is what I'm going to show you today. Is they'd play grooves, but they'd play all their ghost notes or separate parts on their other snare drum. So they'd have like quite a tightly tuned snare drum, and then a low tuned snare drum or a high tuned snare drum. So I'm just going to lower this one down a little bit with my tuning key here, just to get a very kind of just a different sound from the snare drum, or just different sounds. So say they're playing a funk gig, they can use their kind of tighter pitched snare drum, and then say they're playing a rock song straight after, they don't have to use that tight tuned up snare drum, they can use a bit more of a lower pitched, kind of rockier sounding snare drum. So that's what I'm doing here, so I'm just tuning this down. Give us a lower, bigger, fatter sound. So a little tip as well I didn't put in my tuning video was, if you want to make a drum kit sound deeper, you can just lower off the snares. There's a little switch on the side which switches your snare on and on. There's usually a little turnable thing as well, which changes how much tension you get from your snare drum. So I'm going to lower that down a bit. That's quite tight. You see we're getting more of a bang, and gets a little row, a little bit of buzz from the snare drum. You get a really big fat sound from that, which is pretty good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a normal ghost note groove. The sheet music for this groove is on my Patreon page. $1, you get access to all my PDFs. But we're gonna play that groove, and it's going to be 8 notes on a hi-hat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we're going to play a bass drum on the first beat. 1, 2, and then a snare drum on the third hi-hat, or beat 2 if you're counting it 1 and 2, the traditional way. So that's the first part. Kick and snare. And then we're going to play some ghost notes, which is right, left, right, left. You can play it on just one snare drum. You don't need 2 snare drums for this. Just right, left, right, left. But for you guys that are trying out either another snare drum or a different sound or a cowbell or anything, or a shelf, that works as well. So you can hit a shelf. That doesn't sound as good as another snare drum, but it will do. Just playing the ghost notes on a different sound. So you'd have kick and snare, right, left, and then a bass drum and a hi-hat, a snare drum and a hi-hat, and then a hi-hat. Sheet music's on my Patreon page if you're interested. So kick and snare, So you could play it on one snare drum. and then you can just move the ghost notes around if you want to. Now, they're not technically ghost notes if you move them onto other toms and you play the same volume. A ghost note is just a quieter snare drum note. But just for the purpose of where you'd normally put your ghost notes on your snare drum, you can move them to other drums to make different sounds. If you're playing on the ride, you can also do this to a tom, or like I say, a cowbell or anywhere. So you play kick and snare, then play right, left, but your left hand move to a tom. And then kick, snare, and so on. So you could try that out as well. But doing it between two snares, you get a little bit of a contrast. I'm going to try my main snare drum notes on this snare drum now, and then I'm going to play my ghost notes on my main snare. So. You get a pretty cool sound from that. So I'm going to do a bit of a short solo now using that. So like I say, you can get the groove on my Patreon page. Look for my earplugs. If you want to see that, and then just try it on various things. But the idea is I want you to take grooves you already know and try and move them onto different instruments. So, which is cool. Here we go. And there we go. I've not tried doing some of that stuff in years. I haven't used two snare drums in a long time. So it's good. And obviously you can use it as a main snare if you want to. But yeah, $99.99 whether you're in America or the UK. Links in the description from the Amazon. Links if you're interested in just having a second snare drum for a pretty good price. It's I've got to say it's pretty good quality, so I like it. Right, I'll see you guys for another lesson sometime soon.